Hey everyone, I'm Renee with Sprouts Photography, and today starts our very first Wednesday series called Webinar Wednesdays. We will be touching base on a little bit of everything. Today's question comes from a Facebook fan. It states, I would love to know more about photography lingo. I learned in a photography class a long time ago, but I hate when I look up stuff online and I try to help myself, but I can't follow the instructions because it's all f-stop this and ISO that. So that comes from Renee Browne. This is a great question, Jenny. Instead of answering it all at once, I'm going to break it down into three parts: ISO, aperture, and shutter speed. So today is all about getting to know ISO. So the technical term is the International Organization for Standardization. Back when we had this crazy medium called film, the film all had an ISO speed. It was basically determined how sensitive that film was to light. The smaller the number, the less sensitive it was to the light. The higher number, or the faster the speed, the more sensitive it was to light. So with higher speeds, you got a graininess to the photos because of how sensitive that light was. So now let's fast forward to the age of digital. We still use that same principle, however now it's how sensitive your sensor is to the light. And instead of grain, we get what's called noise. So if you're shooting out on a sunny day on the beach or at the park, you're probably going to be at a really low ISO of 100. Now an overcast day, or let's say inside if you're shooting with flash, you're probably going to be anywhere between 200 to 400 ISO. Now some of the higher end DSLR cameras, they can shoot up to 6400 ISO, and they can even capture the smallest little bit of candlelight. However, at that high speed, you're going to have a huge amount of grain, or noise, I'm sorry, I should say. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down each ISO level. The first is ISO 100 and slower. Fantastic quality. Mainly you're going to be outdoors, lots of sunlight. The detail in the pictures are going to be perfect. You're not going to have any loss of detail. The image quality is going to be great. You can blow those pictures up real big. The next is ISO 2 to 400. Generally that's good on cloudy, overcast days, indoors with or without flash. The image quality is still going to be pretty good. It kind of depends on your camera, but for the most part, 200 is still going to be pretty good. 400, you're going to start seeing a little bit of noise being detected. And then, of course, anything over ISO 800. It's really only usually used effectively on a digital SLR camera. So most shots taken on one of your point and shoots, it's going to be extremely noisy. I really suggest you only using 800 and above if you have a DSLR. So the best thing to do is to really just play with your camera and its setting and see where your camera's sweet spot is. What looks good on one camera at 800 may look awful on another. And remember, the higher the ISO number, the quicker the sensor reacts to light. Therefore, it's giving you more light to use, but the trade-off is that image quality and the grain it's going to go up. So also make sure to zoom in on your pictures, because what looks good at, let's say, 25% on your computer monitor, once you zoom in on that picture and you see it real close at 100%, you're going to see a lot more of that noise in there. And it may look good at 25%, but once you print that picture, let's say in a 16 by 20, it's going to be a totally different image. Yeah, so that concludes today's lesson on ISO. If you have any questions, I would love for you to post that in a comment, and I will get to those as soon as possible. Also, I'd love to hear from you in the comment section. If you have a question about anything photography related, head on over to our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/sproutsphotography, and post a question for me there, and I will try my best to get that answered. So next week we will tackle the shutter speed. Okay? Thanks and have a great Wednesday. Bye-bye.